All right, welcome back. Pretty excited to talk about for the next 10 minutes. I get a lot of questions. Shantanu, can you help us understanding if you're aspiring DevOps engineer or an infrastructure consultant, if you're a fresher, if you want to switch your career from QA or tester to DevOps, if you are already a developer and know a bit of DevOps and would like to understand what are the skills that you need to uh, acquire in order to become a DevOps engineer, do what a DevOps engineer do. In this session, I'm going to talk about that over the next 5 minutes. I just gonna condense down my 7, 8 years of experience and give you back in 5, 7 minutes. All right. I don't have a specialized video or specialized slide. What I've done is I have listed down five major tools or tech stack you need to understand in order to do DevOps for any company, be it a Fortune 500 companies or a startup. First thing first, you got to have bit understanding of any cloud provider, be it Azure, AWS, GCP, DigitalOcean, Rackspace, or any private cloud. Understand the fundamentals of any of these cloud provider, and you should be good. It doesn't matter whichever cloud it is. The jargons change. However, the fundamentals remain same. Let's suppose give you a very basic example. In Azure, it's blob storage. In AWS is S3 bucket. In Azure, it's virtual machine. In AWS, it's EC2. The name changes. Fundamentally, the OSs and all the underlying system remains same. So first thing first, learn any cloud provider because primarily companies are either hosting everything on cloud right from the day one or they are migrating. All right, so that was the first tool set you need to have. Second one, since we're talking about Docker, uh, containers and microservices a lot, right? You need to have some sort of container knowledge. And now Docker is the pioneer in this industry, so make sure you learn about Docker. Second one, you got to learn at least one CI/CD tools. Be it if you're proponent of FOSS and open source system, go ahead and start learning GitHub. Now everybody has in some shape or form in some stage of their life might have used GitHub has a tool called GitHub Action recently been launched. It's pretty similar to Azure DevOps if you've worked on, so make sure you learn one of the CI/CD tool like GitHub Action, which is in front of you. Plus, you need to have a bit knowledge about the Git commands, also how a source code management works, how to pull a repository, how to make changes and push it to remote repository, how to delete a branch, how to create a branch, all of that. Learn Git, and you should be good for any of the GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab. Doesn't matter. Third tool which I would like you to learn is nowadays Kubernetes is one of the top technologies not only for companies but as a professional personally also it pays you a lot. So people who knows Kubernetes gets paid a lot. So uh, combination all of these three things which I just told you are attached to each other. You're gonna build your image or container using the Docker, you're going to deploy it onto Kubernetes, and then you're going to deploy using some sort of CI/CD tool called GitHub Action. Now, one of the quickest, now Kubernetes, if you're new to Kubernetes, can be really overwhelming. What I would suggest is either download Rancher, Minikube, and start deploying a hello world pod. Just start with the pod and understand how to try to log into the pod and all of that. Fourth thing I would recommend you is learn any infrastructure as a code tool. Now, HashiCorp, which is grown humongously from past in last few years, I would recommend you to learn Terraform. It's pretty easy. Even if you are coming from a non-programming background, you could still learn Terraform. It's a desired state language, which means it's not an actual programming language. It's more of like documentation. So even if you're not from a programming background, if you're from system engineering or networking background, go ahead and learn Terraform. They have highly detailed documentation. You could always learn that. Now, this is one of the most controversial topic. All right, it's a bit difficult topic also. However, in order to have some sense of DevOps, you need to learn any networking concept. All right. Now, I am suggesting Nginx because the documentation is pretty detailed, and it's been in the market, in the community from past many years. So go ahead and learn about load balancer, go ahead and learn about proxies, reverse proxies, gateways, how to create, what is a port forward, and all of that. Once you're done with it, I think you should be pretty independent to get started with any of the project. I think you should be pretty confident not only to crack interviews, but confidently say that I am ready to work on any of the DevOps projects. So in a fundamental, these are the tech tool stack which you should be using, or you should be should acquire some sort of knowledge in order to do DevOps. This was pretty quick. I didn't want to bombard you with any tech tool stack. Like I said, learn about containers using Docker, learn about CI/CD using GitHub. Now, it doesn't have to be GitHub. It could be any CI/CD tool: GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab Action, uh, GitLab, or Azure DevOps, could be anything, Jenkins. So you learn one, you master all of them, because primary of them is actually written using YAML. So you all you need to do is write YAML, and YAML is pretty easy to learn, right? Kubernetes, you learn Kubernetes, uh, it you make your life easier. Once you have learned the fundamental of Kubernetes, you can work on Azure Kubernetes, AWS, Google Kubernetes, Digital Kubernetes, any of the Kubernetes flavor. You learn Terraform, you could write infrastructure for Azure, AWS, on-premises, Palo Alto. If you're coming from non-cloud background, you could write Terraform infrastructure as a code for that also. So one tool is related to many tech stack actually. So that's why I'm suggesting you one of the most generalized tools, so that a lot of the videos, I'm not blaming any videos, but a lot of the videos are very vendor specific. This particular session is actually pretty agnostic. You learn one tool and you would be able to acquire knowledge about any of the tools related to it. And then obviously you got to have some sort of knowledge about cloud also, be it Azure, um, AWS, or DigitalOcean. All right, this was about it. This was how to get started, and top 5 or 6 tool set you would require in order to become a DevOps engineer. I hope it was informative. Thank you.